The ultimate strength of a steel in tension in comparison to shear is in the ratio of 3:2. Machine design. The permissible stress for carbon steel under starting loading is generally taken as 4000 to 7500 kg per centimeter square. The property of material which enables to resist fracture due to high impact loads is known as toughness. For long and narrow cross section, ratio of between B thickness T above 10 bar subjected to torsion T, the value of maximum shear stress will be T by 2bt square. For rectangular cross section beam subjected to a shearing force F, the maximum shearing stress induced will be none of the above. For circular cross section beam subjected to a shearing force F, the maximum shear stress induced will be 4F by 5d square. In bending of a beam, transfer shearing stress are induced between the elements of fibers. The bending moment is decreases. When two cylinders of radii R and R are axial contact with their axis parallel under force F, the area of contact bearing being a rectangle of width B and length L, then the value of maximum pressure on the contact strip is equal to F by pi BL. The distribution of pressure on the contact area in the above case will be parabolic. A hot shot metal is brittle when hot. If the end of elastic bar struck axially by a hammer, a compressive wave develops that travels at the speed of sound in material equal to E by rho whole square. Gauss theory of failure is applicable as the following type of materials. Ductile material. Rankin's theory of failure is applicable for following type of material: brittle material. If an unsupported uniform cross-sectional elastic bar is subjected to longitudinal impact from rigid body moving with a velocity v, then compressive wave of intensity is propagated through the bar as follow: v rho e. Tensile strength of mild steel specimen can be roughly predicted from following hardness test. Brinell. Resilience of a material is important when it is subjected to shock loading. If the case of elastic bar fixed at upper end loaded by falling weight at lower end and shock load produced can be decreased by decreasing the cross-sectional area of bar. Other method of reducing shock load in the above case can be to increase length. Yet another method to reduce shock load in the above example to decrease E modulus to elasticity. If load W is applied instantaneously on a bar of cross section A, then the stress induced in the bar is worst case will be 2W by A. The shear modulus of resilience of a material is proportional to S square. If the longitudinal strain in a material is doubled in comparison to lateral strain, the ratio of modulus of rigidity to elasticity will be 0.33. If load W is applied instantaneously on a bar, then the stress induced in a bar will be independent ratio of mass load W mass of bar. A prismatic bar having an elliptical hole in center with semi-major axis perpendicular to direction of loading and semi-minor axis along direction loading subjected to pull, the maximum stress induced at edge of hole will be S of 1 plus 3B by C. In the above case of in hole is circular one, the maximum stress in edge hole will be 3S. Brittle coating techniques is used for unexperimental stress analysis. Stress concentration is caused due to all of this above. The endurance limit of material with the finished surface in comparison to rough surface is dash more. Plastic flow in ductile material lessens the seriousness of static loading stress concentration. The maximum stress due to stress concentration in bar having circular transverse hole compared to its static stress without hole will be 3 times more. The fatigue life of pot can be improved by short peening. The stress concentration in static loading is more serious in brittle material. Stress concentration in a cyclic loading is more serious in ductile materials. Endurance limit or fatigue limit is the maximum stress that the member can withstand for an infinite number of load. Application without failure when subjected to completely reversed loading. Pick up wrong statement. Fatigue strength can be increased by hot working. Which of the following is not correct to produce the increase the fatigue limit is surface deprivation. Coaxing is the producers of increasing fatigue limit by overstressing the metal by successfully increasing loading, which is a correct statement. Stress concentration in static loading is very serious in brittle material and less serious in the ductile material. The notch angle of the IZOD impact testing specimen is 45 degrees. In Vickers hardness testing, the pyramid indenter apex is 136 degrees. Which is the correct statement? Stress concentration in cyclic loading is equally serious in both type of materials. In testing a material for endurance strength, it is subjected to completely reversed load. If a material fails below its yield point, failure would be due to dash fatigue. The fatigue limit is a material depends mainly on core composition. Cold working increase the fatigue strength. Yield point in a fatigue loading as compared to static loading is lower. Residential stress in a material is independent of external loads. The building up of worn and underutilized parts subjected to repeated loads by electroplating is best method. In nitrated parts, the origins of the fatigue cracks will occur at none of these above. Which process will increase the fatigue duration of parts? Short peening. Which is correct statement is a member made of cast iron will generally be more rigid than a member of equal load carrying ability made of steel. Resilience to fatigue of a material is measured by endurance limit. In most machine member, the damping capacity of the material should be high. The ratio of endurance limit in shear to the endurance limit of the flexure is 0.55. For steel, the ultimate strength in the shear as compared to ultimate strength in the tension is dash 2 by 3. The endurance limit in shear carbon steel can be obtained by multiplying the endurance limit in the flexure by a factor of 0.75. At low temperature, notched bar impact value of steel decreases markedly. A bolt has a head on one end and nut fitted to the other. The crete diameter of a screw thread is same as measured diameter. If D is the diameter of bolt hole, then for a flanged pipe joint to be leak proof, the circumferential pitch of the bolt should be 20 root D to 30 root D. A maximum principal stress theory of applicable for brittle material. The following type of nut is used in Allen bolts is any one of these above. A stud has both the ends is threaded. Shear stress theory is applicable for ductile material. A tap bolt has head at one end, other the first is tapped hole in the other part to be joined. For application involving high stresses on direction, only the following type of thread would be best suited: buttress thread. The included angle in a unified of American national threads is 60 degrees. A included angle in ACME threads is 29 degrees. The function of washer is to provide bearing area. Cap screw are similar to small size tap bolts except that the greater variety of shapes a head are available. An Allen bolt is provided with hexagonal depression in head. The deflection of a cantilever beam is under load W delta. If its width is halved, then the deflection under load W will be dash 4 delta. Ball bearing type screw are found in following application: steering mechanism, set screw or dash, used to prevent a relative motion between parts. A self-locking screw has coefficient of friction greater than or equal tangent of load angle. The designation M33 into 2 of bolt means metric head thread of 33 mm outside diameter and 2 mm pitch. A mission screw are slotted for a screwdriver and generally used with a nut. Rivets are generally specified by nominal diameter. The rivet head for general purpose shown in the figure is the countersunk. The rivet head for a boiler application shown in the figure is conical. The edge of boiler plate are beveled to an angle of 80 degrees. Which of the following is permanent fastening rivets? The type of riveted joint shown in the figure is double riveted butt joint. In order to avoid tearing of the plate at edge, the distance from the center line of the rivet hole to the nearest edge of the plate in terms of dia of rivet D should be equal to 1.5 D. If the tearing efficiency of riveted joint is 75%, then the ratio of diameter of rivet to the pitch is equal to 0.25. The drawing representation shown in the figure for welding is used to represent weld all round. Transverse fillet weld joints are designed for tensile strength. The drawing representation shown in the figure for welding is used to represent field weld. Jam nut is locking device in which one smaller nut is tightened over main nut and main are tightened against smaller one by losing, creating friction jamming. The pitch of threads on a lock nut in comparison to pitch of nut is same. The nut shown in the figure is castle nut. Nut shown in the figure is castle nut. The screw head shown in the figure is Philister nut. Buttress threads are usually around in railway carriage couplings. The bolt shown in the figure is designed for shock loading. In order to obtain bolt of uniform strength is drill an axial hole through head up to thread portion so that shank area is equal to root of thread. The key shown in the figure is the berth key. A key cable of tilting in a recess milled out in the shaft is known as woodruff key. A key made from a cylindrical disc having a segmental cross section is known as a woodruff key. A tapered key which fits in a key way in the hub a flat on the shaft is known as flat saddle key. Fibrous fracture occurs in ductile material. Turnbuckle has left hand threaded on one end and right hand threaded on other end. Eye bolts are used for lifting and transportation of a machine and cubically. Elastic nut is locking device in which hard fiber on nylon quarter is resided in the nut and becomes threaded as the nut is screwed on the bolt, causing tight grip. If D is the normal diameter of bolt, then the initial tension kg in bolt used for making fluid tight joint as per steam engine cover joint is calculated by the relation 168D. If threads on a bolt are left hand thread or nut will be left hand with the same pitch. Taper usually provided and quarter is 1 in 24. Applications in which stresses are encountered one direction only uses following type of thread buttress. The draw of quarter need not exceed 3 mm. A bench wise has following type of threads ACM. The valve rod in a steam engine is connected to an eccentric rod by knuckle joint. A split nut is a locking device in which a slot is cut partially in middle of nut, then slot reduced by tightening screw. Taper on the quarter and the slot is provided on one side only. The function of cutting oil when threading to pipe is to dash all of the above. Silver based solder is used for brazing. For tight leakage joints, following type of thread is dash NPT, National Pipe Threads. In order to permit the thermal expansion contraction of tubing, it should be bent. A tube has the following advantage over pipe all of the above. The strap end of connecting rod of steam engine is joined by gib of cutter joint. A backing ring is used to inside the pipe joint when making a butt weld. The shear plane in case of bolts should never be across the threaded portion. Castle nut is locking device in which through slots are made at top and quarter pin is passed through this and hole in the bolt and quarter pins fitted and bent in reverse direction or to the other. When a nut is tightened by placing a washer below it, fold will be subjected to following type of loads in the tension. Gearbox is used to obtain variable speeds. The edge of the plate for cylindrical vessels are usually beveled to an angle of 80 degrees for fullering and knuckling. The piston rod of a steam engine is usually connected to the crosshead by means of quarter joint. Which of the following pipe joints would be suitable for pipes carrying steam? The expansion. Swing index is ratio of coil diameter to wide diameter. The shearing stresses in the inner face of comparison to outer face of the wire in heavy closed coiled spring is larger. Form coefficient of swing is dash. Its capability of storing energy. Swing stiffness is load required to produce unit deflection. When two springs are series, the equivalent stiffness will be K by 2. When a closely coiled helical spring is compressed, its wire is subjected to tension. If a spring is cut down into springs, the stiffness of the cut spring will be dash doubled. Belt slip may occur due to all of the above. Aircraft body is usually fabricated by riveting. If two springs are in parallel, then their overall stiffness will be double. In hydrodynamic bearings, the oil film pressure is generated only by the rotation of the journal. The anti-friction bearings are dash, none of the above. A bearing pressure on is subjected to bearing absolute viscosity of lubricant and speed of journal. The bearing characteristic number of given by Zn by P. The usually clearance provided in hydrodynamic bearings for minimum diameter of shaft is 1 micron. In hydrostatic bearings, the oil film is maintained by a supplying oil under pressure. In the journal, bearings should be applied at the point where load is nil or lightened. The rated life of bearing varies inversely as cube of load. In an oilless bearings is the do not require external supply and lubricant. In V-belt drive belt touches at sides only. Three different weights fall from certain under vacuum. They will take same time to reach earth. In cross of regular lap ropes, direction of twist of wire stands opposite to the direction of twist strands. In standard taper roller bearings, the angle of taper of rotor raceway is 25 degrees centigrade. Ball bearing type of screw find application is the steering mechanism. In parallel layer rope, direction of twist wires when stands are same. In composite on reverse light ropes, wires in two adjacent stands are twisted in the opposite direction. Whether any score is required in wire ropes, yes. If shearing stress is not of the tensile stress in a bolt, then nut length should be equal to diameter of bolt 2. Basic shaft is 1 whose upper deviation is 0. Basic hole is 1 whose lower deviation is 0. Standard tolerance unit 0.45 3 root D plus 0.001 D. IS specifies following total number of grades of tolerances 18. In surface roughness, traverse length is the length of profile necessary for the evaluation of surface roughness. For standard coarse thread of nut, the thread will be strong failure by shearing as the bolting tension of the height of the nut approximately 0.4 times. Allen bolts are provided with hexagonal depression head. The resultant axial load on a bolt depends on ABC. If the connected member between two members bolted together is very yielding compared to bolt, then the resultant load of the bolt will be equal to sum of 2A and B. If the bolt is very yielding as compared with the connected members, then the resultant load on the bolt will be equal to higher of 2AB. The connecting rod bolts are tightened up so the tightening stress is the approaches yield point. The connecting rod bolts are tightened up with initial tension greater than the external load so that the resultant load on the bolt would not be affected by the external cyclic load. If an application calls for a stress on a screw threads in one direction only, then the following type of thread would be best suited in the buttress. When a bolt is subjected to shock loading, the resultants of the bolt should be considered in order to prevent breakage of the thread. The shock absorbing capacity of bolt can be increased by making shank diameter is equal to core diameter of thread. Modulus of resilience is proportional to SE. Resilience of a bolt may be increased by increasing its length. The holes in a plates for a riveting purpose should be made by drilling. Strength of a rivet in bearings is given by P is equal to SB into T into SD T into D. In riveted joints, design diameter of riveted D terms of plate thickness is equal to D is equal to 6 root T. Lowest value of riveted joint efficiency is assumed in case of single riveted lap joint. For riveted joints, in the type of joint preferred is a butt joint. The distance from the center lines of the row rivets holes nearest the edge of plate should be 1.5 D into 2.5 D. In design is riveted joints, efforts should be made make it strong against failure due to dash, equal against steering, shearing and bearing. If the tearing efficiency of riveted joint 60%, then the ratio of pitch to diameter rivets is 0.40. In multiple riveted joints, the minimum distance between the rows of rivets should be 2.0D, 2.5D. Thickness of strap for double strap joint in terms of thickness plate is T is equal to 0.60 to T. In case of riveted joint, the maximum pitch in terms of diameter rivets D is 3D. The stress concentration in riveted joint with the unequal width cover plates as compared to one with equal width straps will be dash less. Failure due to tearing an edge can be avoided by keeping the center of the nearest rivet from the edge of the plate at least distance equal to 2.5D. The following type of rivets head is used for boilerplate riveting snap. In order that the tearing strength of the cover plates should be equal to that of plates to be connected, the thickness of the single cover plate should be 1 by 8T. With the percentage of increase in carbon in steel, ductile of a steel increases. Factor of safety in the ratio of yield stress by working stress. The rivets which heated and driven in the field are known as power driven field rivets. Cold driven rivets range from 12 to 22 mm in diameter. In the eccentric riveted connection, the rivets have to resist linear as well as rotatory displacement. Pick up the correct statement. Diameter of the rivet hole made larger than the diameter of the rivet by 2.0 mm. Rivets diameter of over 25 mm. The perpendicular distance between the rows of rivets in chain riveting is 2D plus 6 mm. The gross diameter of a rivet is the diameter of the rivet measured after driving. Pick up true statement from the following. The minimum pitch should be not less than 2.5 times the gross diameter of the rivet. According to IBR safety factor, rivet joint should not be less than 4. Efficiency of riveted joint beam ratio between the dash. The minimum of the three strengths of joint, the strength of the pitch length should be loaded plate. According to LBR, the following type of joint is preferred for longitudinal joint, butt joint. The edge of the boiler plate are beveled at an angle is 80 degrees. A riveted joint may fail due to dash, any or all of the above reasons. According to IBR, the following type of joint is preferred for a circumferential joint, lap joint. A boiler plate thickness is 20 mm to riveted will be dash 40 mm. A thin-walled cylindrical vessel consists of a cylindrical portion having wall thickness Tc, two hemispherical ends of wall thickness. In order to ensure uniform stress in both portion, ratio Tc by Th should be 2. A riveted joint may fail due to dash, either failure on the riveted, failure on the plates. Feeder key are generally tight in shaft and loss in hub. The distribution of stress along the length of key fitted in the shaft is in exponential shape, being more than torque input end. Width of key is usually taken as 1 by 4 into D. Which of the following steel key is usually strong failure by shearing and crushing? Square. For square key side D by 4, its length should be given below in order that it is strong in case of shaft is torsion 1.5D. A saddle key is provided in a hub only hollow to fit the shaft. A shape of woodruff key is like semicircle. In welded joint, in the throat of weld as compared to size of weld is about 0.7 times. Tangent key is fitted such that the each withstand a torsion in one direction only. Kennedy's keys are used for application like rough and heavy services, which key transmit power through frictional resistance only. Saddle. Sunk key is designed to fit in a sunk key away hose bed in parallel to the axis. Which of the following key transmit power through frictional resistance only? Saddle key. Flat key is fitted such that each withstand torsion in which direction is only. In thick cylindrical, the tangential stress across the thickness of cylinder is minimum at outside and maximum inside. Thick cylinders are designed at the Lamis equation. For designed thick cylinder, following equation used all of this above. In thick cylinders, the radial stress across the thickness cylinder is the minimum at outside and maximum inside. Oldham's coupling is used in the connect two shafts which have lateral misalignments. Okay, thank you.